if you're struggling mentally, reach out to somebody. If you need a therapist, don't be afraid of therapy. Therapy is an amazing tool that is available and ready for us. Now, I know some people are gonna be like, well, Johnny, I don't have money for therapy. Okay, if you don't have money for therapy, you have friends and loved ones who want to help you. Maybe reach out to somebody that you trust. It could be a female. It doesn't necessarily have to be a guy. Somebody that you trust and understands you. You can voice something to them and they can hold space for you. Sometimes that can be the complete outlet you need to just feel held and seen and noticed and understood, that can help you release some of that negative energy that you're holding pent up within. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Art of Masculinity. We are in Men's National Health Awareness Month, and this is obviously a big topic that, here at the Art of Masculinity is important to me because I understand how men are struggling. I've seen it from not only my life in the military, but even in my own, deepest, darkest times. And one of the common themes that happens with men is that when we're in a mental struggle, a psychological struggle, we feel like we're alone. And what I've come to find out, especially through the years of being a men's coach and through the years of just being in this kind of development space and hosting events, being part of events, coaching men one-on-one, and all of this, what I can tell you guys is that when you feel like you're alone, when you feel like you're struggling and that there's nobody else going through that depth of despair or darkness that you're going through, just know that somebody is. There are a lot of other men struggling with probably the exact same thing you're going through. And it's not to diminish that. I don't say that to diminish what you're going through, but to let you know that you're not alone. Because one of the darkest places I've been in my life when I was struggling in my marriage, my first marriage, when I was struggling with myself, after leaving, the military and protection, one of the things that I thought was I was the only one going through it. And there's no lonelier place psychologically than really having a hard time, not having the tools to really get out of it. And then also compiling that with thinking that you're the only one struggling with it. Now, obviously we can say that, yeah, that's ridiculous. We all know that other people are going to have it. There's almost 8 billion people on this planet. But we forget that, guys. We do. We really forget that. I know from personal experience that I forgot that. And, it also doesn't just make it better to realize that. It also makes it better when we're able to reach out to people and ask for support. So just remember that as you're going through stuff, the best answer is to look for support when things get really hard. When you don't feel like you can get through them yourself, reach out to somebody. It may be the hardest thing that you feel you have to do because of the fact that you may be too proud to do that. You may feel like it's weak to do that. But the other side of that is depression and sadness and the potentiality of suicide. And that's a reality. 3 out of 4 suicides are committed by men. It's the leading cause of death in young men, ages 35 and below. And every 20 in 100,000 men, 45 to 64, they commit suicide. And that's like the biggest range of men, or the biggest number of men in any age range to commit suicide. So it's something that's very serious. But this month isn't just about mental health. It is about the national health awareness for men. And that means physical health. Now, I know that guys you can see these very aggressive people for online about like getting in shape and all this stuff. And it may not resonate with you, but the message does have potency to it. And the reason I say that is because there is a direct correlation between getting your physical health going and your mental health improving. I don't know all of the science behind this as far as what hormones are outkicked and everything else that triggers this improvement. If you want to go listen to Sean Stevenson at the Model Health Show, I would recommend that because he can follow that up. But at the end of the day, physical health does show significant improvement for mental health. It does help bring us out of depression. It does help bring us out of sadness. It helps us to feel re-energized and revitalized. And so if you aren't in great health, physical health, start looking at how you can improve that. It doesn't mean you have to go be a bodybuilder. It doesn't mean that you have to go be someone who's doing ultra marathons or triathlons and competing in sports and things like that. You don't have to do all of those things, but what you should be doing is doing something to improve your physical health. That means eating better, eating more whole foods, natural stuff, and also including some form of workout regimen in your daily life. That improvement just there is going to help your mental health. And I think that if we take that a little more seriously and stop focusing on the guys that are, or the guys and gals that are really, hammering this like hard lifting, hard workout lifestyle. Like I do that in my life, but I'm not going to push that on you. I want you to be in better health, physical health, but I don't need to be there saying like, oh yeah, like you need to do what I do. No, you don't. You need to do something and you need to improve, and that is going to improve your mental health as well. So look at how you can complement those together and take that seriously, guys. It's not something that we should be looking at as a byproduct to life, or I hate working out and all these things. It has a direct correlation on how we treat ourselves internally and the psychological state in which we operate in. So ask yourself if you're really doing these things, and if you can improve them, that's great. And like I said, reaching out to people, if you are looking to get in better physical shape and your goal is just to start incorporating it daily, well, reach out to somebody that's doing it and ask them if they can help you, or pay a coach to do it, to help you, to make it easy on yourself. And you start to fit it into a daily routine so it becomes a habit for you. That's really all we're looking for, right? We want to make it a habit because there are a lot of people out there who don't like working out, and that's perfectly okay. But on the same token, we have to look at detrimentally how that affects us psychologically and immunologically and our overall health. So take a look at how you can approach that to where it fits your mentality. If you're not somebody who's hell-bent on losing weight and hell-bent on reaching a high-level goal, but you just want to start incorporating these things into your life, reach out to somebody who may not be as aggressive, but is going to help you have that connection and build that habit and hold you accountable. On the same token, if you're struggling mentally, reach out to somebody. If you need a therapist, don't be afraid of therapy. Therapy is an amazing tool that is available and ready for us. Now, I know some people are gonna be like, well, Johnny, I don't have money for therapy. Okay. Well, if you don't have money for therapy, you have friends and loved ones who want to help you. Maybe reach out to somebody that you trust. It could be a female. It doesn't necessarily have to be a guy. If somebody that you trust and understands you can voice something to them and they can hold space for you. Sometimes that can be the complete outlet you need to just feel held and seen and noticed and understood, that can help you release some of that negative energy that you're holding pent up within. On the same token, if you want to reach out to a coach, there are people like myself and other men in the coaching space who will be more than happy to chat with you and talk with you, especially if you need support. Like, we're not just sitting out here doing this. Like, if you look at the amount of free content I do, if you ask me if I'm doing this for money, like, you got to be joking yourself. That's not it. It's the help that I can provide to men because I know the struggles that we go through. Obviously, I've been through them myself, a lot of them myself, and I can sit there and resonate. And I can also ask really good questions to help allow you to come to that connection with yourself and realize that life isn't as bad as maybe it seems to you right now, or as dark, right? So reach out to me, reach out to other men's coaches if you resonate with somebody, and just ask them to support, or ask them a question that might be able to help you come to some realization or come to some connection with yourself that is going to improve your mental state. And at the end of the day, if you are somebody listening to this, male or female, and you have not reached out to somebody in your life, a man in your life, to just check in on them, please do that. Do that for somebody that's important. Do that for important to you. Do that for somebody you may not even know. If you see somebody, being very melancholy outside, like, hey man, are you okay? Is there anything that I can help you with? Those are things that we can just extend to one another as human beings. But this month, especially when we're talking about men and the overall national health awareness of men, it's definitely a time that we should be looking to start supporting them. And like I said, this should be happening year round. We shouldn't have to do it just one time a month. But since we're going to highlight this month, I want you guys to know that reaching out to somebody can go a long way. I've told numerous stories on, veterans and suicide. I've spoken at events, charity events for this. And even just aside from men, or aside from veterans, men in general are really struggling with suicide and mental health issues. And one of the stories I can give you guys is this, a good friend of mine, he runs he runs a nonprofit called Ranger Road. And a good friend of mine, Venikov, he does a lot for veterans, specifically just, veterans that are struggling, whether it's mental health, whether they're, physically injured. So they have single or double amputees that he helps a lot of people, a lot of veterans in different capacities. But I bring this up because he was doing what they have, which is their Freedom Jump. It's an amazing event that they host every single year. And this was a few years ago. He and I were having a coffee in Washington, D.C., and we sit there and we're just chatting. And he was talking about one of the first Freedom Jumps they did for Ranger Road. And what happened was he goes out to the Freedom Jump and he participates. So he jumps in it. They typically will strap like an amputee or double amputee, somebody who's been significantly injured in combat, to a jumper, and then they'll get to parachute down and really like get that exhilarating freedom, that adrenaline going again, that vitality going again. And it really has helped people improve their mental state that are in very debilitating mental states of PTSD and other things. Well, this one kid comes out and he comes out to the event, and my buddy Venikov sees him standing, by his wife, and not anything weird, but it just always kind of cues us that have lived the lives that we've had. Like someone's too close to our wife that we don't know, it makes us a little hesitant, right? Especially when it's a man and you're also not there to be able to protect her, right? So he sees this guy standing next to her, and he's just kind of like, okay, whatever. Like I need to, not really super comfortable, but I need to get going and doing what I'm doing here. So they go and they do the Freedom Jump and everything like that. And they get down from the Freedom Jump, everything's completed. And all of a sudden, Venikov looks over there, the guy's gone, his wife's standing there, whatever, cheering and everything else. And the gentleman's gone. So I believe it was the next day, he has an email in his inbox, and he checks his email and he sees it. And it's this kid who was at the Freedom Jump. And he says, hey, Mikhail, thank you for what you do with Ranger Road. I came out to your event. I met your wife. I was standing out there by her. And I watched everything that happened. And it really, really made me feel good to know that there was more still to life. And that basically he was saying that what he received from that was there was good people trying to help those who were still struggling from the war, from everything else that they're experiencing. And he wrote in his message that, he had a rope hanging in his garage that day, and he was either going to go out to the Ranger Road Freedom Jump or he was going to hang himself. Those were the two choices this kid gave himself. He chose to go out to the Ranger Road event. It changed his life. He went back home, took the rope down, and he said he found God after that, which also helped, but it helped him to have that catapult into more positive thinking and to see life a little differently from how he was painting it by himself in his house, in the dark moments and crevices of his own mind. And the power that I want to extend to you guys is the fact that, this one simple act of making an event, and obviously Ranger Road has blown up since then. This was years ago, but has blown up since then to be very, very beneficial for a lot of veterans. I highly recommend it. If you need a nonprofit to go to and you're struggling as a veteran, that is the place to be. But, it's this one simple act that we think may not have as profound an experience as it can. And to save somebody's life is the most profound experience we can ever give somebody. So those little acts mean a lot. I say all of that because if you know somebody and you just reach out to them and ask them how they're doing, and it doesn't have to be for any purpose other than to just check in on them, that could be the one small act that saves that man's life. That could be the one small act that allows that man to open up and relieve himself of a lot of pressure and anxiety and negativity. So think about that as we are in November, rounding out November. And if you haven't done that yet, make sure that you do go and do that for somebody today, and just check in on them and see if you can't help. So And if you are somebody struggling, again, ask for help. It's okay. People want to support you. Give them the opportunity to do so. And if that means reaching out to somebody you don't know, like myself, please do that. We are here for you. That is the whole point of even coming out and making this kind of content, doing what I've done for the last 5 years. I guarantee you, I can promise you it's not been for money. It has been for the growth of other men out there. So reach out, guys, and look to yourself to find some strength into making progress by creating little habits. Things like I said, building some kind of workout regimen into your daily or weekly routine, even if it's a few times a week, but also doing some work in journaling is very helpful to relieve yourself of pressure, to relieve yourself of negative thoughts. It is something that can improve your mental state dramatically. You may not think that, but trust me, I've gone years, recently I've gone since I've been on this journey, this self-development journey, I've gone years journaling, and the help that it has provided me is amazing. So small things that you can do to help improve yourself, but also the big things are give other people the opportunity to support you. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for tuning in to the Art of Masculinity. And make sure you guys head over to Apple iTunes, give a 5-star review if you enjoy the show, let other people know about it so we can continue to get it out there. And remember, as always, the world deserves a better caliber of man, and it's our obligation to give it to them.